since we have nowhere to sleep, we'll be sleeping in the garden. After all, Nancy, you're utterly useless in this house, aren't you? I can't understand why she would say such a thing. I am trying my best in this house as a wife. Just because there's no place to sleep in the garden. Can't you see? I have 5 children. Including me, that's space for 6 people needed, you know? So, that means we'll be using your room, dear Nancy. Though I haven't seen Megan much since the wedding. She has taken a harsh attitude towards me at every opportunity. However, I have no intention of giving in. She has finally crossed the line. Why should I lend them my room and sleep in the garden? That's unacceptable. I must give a fitting response to this disrespectful sister-in-law. I am Nancy. This story takes place about a year ago, when I met my husband, Tom, at a company year-end party. Though he was 3 years my senior and from a different department. We both were selected for a major project proposal within the company. Busy as it was, after completing the project, a year-end party was held. And it was then Tom confessed to me. Having little experience in love, a confession was a rare event for me. Your work is wonderful, and you yourself are very attractive. That's why I want to date you. Tom said, showing his interest in me, to which I nodded, and our relationship began. Being not too far apart in age, we enjoyed our relationship. Moreover, it seems he has a younger sister close to my age. So he understands how to interact with women well. We also had common hobbies, so our dates were always enjoyable. That's why, when Tom said, "Let's get married," I was overjoyed. It was something I never imagined. It felt like a spotlight was shining on my life. I believed even someone like me could be happy. And with this decision to marry, I was about to face an incredible situation. Actually, it seems my mother has been injured. And my father has asked us to live with them. What? You never mentioned that. During our relationship, there was never any talk of living together after marriage. I wish you had told me such important things before we decided to marry. Upon saying that, Tom desperately apologized. I'm really sorry. It was all so sudden. Actually, my mother got injured, and it's worrying with just my father alone. He looks at me, gauging my reaction. The injury happened recently, and she seems to need care. I don't think my father can manage alone. I want to live with them and help out. How is your mother doing? Is she okay? Anyway, I want you to live with my parents. I'm worried about them. I'm the eldest son, and my sister has already married and left home. In any case, I'm the only one who can worry about my parents. If something happened to my parents. I'm the eldest son after all. Tom emphasizes being the eldest son. What's with this eldest son's appeal? If you're that worried about your parents. I decided to accept living together. I thought about whether the roles were reversed. I might also seek Tom's help, and that's why I agreed. However, I would come to deeply regret this decision later on. After the wedding, we returned from our honeymoon, packed our bags, and moved into my husband's family home. But the scene I encountered was completely different from what I had been told. Upon arriving at his family home, Tom's mother, Sophia, was dancing a peculiar dance in front of the TV. For a moment, I panicked, thinking she might be involved in some dangerous cult. But then I realized from the TV screen that it was aerobics. Sophia, are you okay? Such vigorous movements. When I asked, Sophia said, I was just moving my body for some exercise, you know? That's a relief. I thought it was some strange ritual. No, different thing. I had thought from Tom that his mother was injured and needed care. Which is why he wanted us to live together. However, Sophia was energetically dancing some strange dance. I had been deceived. I heard from Tom that you were seriously injured and we needed to live together. Are you okay? When I asked. Injury?
Ah.
It was nothing serious. Just a little burn from hot water. What? A burn. I was so angry I almost asked, did you burn your brain? But I held back. Well, it's minor, so it's not like I can't do housework. She answered with a beaming smile. When I looked at Tom, he turned his face away. Why on earth did he say we needed to live together? I began to distrust Tom. Just because of a minor burn, he wanted his wife to live with his parents? No way, that's impossible. I reconsidered and asked Sophia about the situation again. Tom told me that you needed care and wanted us to live together. My. Did he make it sound that serious? She laughed heartily. Never have I found someone else's smile so infuriating. Could it be that Tom lied? Because we were so busy with moving and entering a busy period at work. I decided not to confront Tom right away. It took about half a year after moving into Tom's parents' house to finally get past the busy period at work. While my busy period ended about 2 months after the wedding, Tom's continued due to a significant mistake found in his department. Living at his parents' meant living a life without Tom. Honestly, they were strangers to me. Suddenly having to make conversation with them without my husband was too difficult. But Sophia was surprisingly energetic for her age, and was very curious about our relationship from the beginning to our marriage. As I've already told you the other day. Really, I find it strange that Tom chose you. She would say, laughing as she insisted on hearing the story again. I always thought it was you who pursued Tom and led to the marriage. Even now, I think so. She added, saying one too many things. Being repeatedly asked to recount our relationship was nothing short of torture for me. Especially with Sophia's pointed remarks. Her behavior felt like schoolyard teasing, albeit without any self-awareness of the hurt it caused. It seemed she didn't have friends to point out her twisted behavior. Or perhaps she never had any friends at all. Moreover, her bad habits didn't stop there. Suddenly, someone entered my room without knocking, saying, "Nancy, I need some tape. Can I borrow some?" Then, before I could even respond, she started rummaging through my desk to find what she was looking for and took it. I said, "Even though we're living together, could you please refrain from doing that? Everything in this room is mine. It bothers me when you take things without asking." I tried to convey that they shouldn't just do as they please in my room. But Sophia didn't seem to care at all. Once, I couldn't find the ballpoint pen I use regularly. When I asked Sophia, "Did you take my ballpoint pen?" In a slightly stern tone, Sophia cheerfully replied, "Oh, sorry. I just borrowed it for a bit. I forgot to put it back. Since I sometimes bring work home, it's a problem for me if someone enters my room and takes things without asking. So, I complained to Tom when he got home. Whether I'm here or not, your mother enters my room and takes my things. If she would at least say I borrowed this when I get back, it might be okay. But she doesn't even mention taking things. Could you ask her not to enter my room and take things while I'm away?" But Tom was raised by such parents. "What's wrong with that?" he asked, looking puzzled. Should I reshape his face? Despite my boiling anger, he nonchalantly said, "She's not stealing, just borrowing. I don't see why that's a big deal. So, it's clear. This house has no concept of privacy. But since we're living together, I decided to ask for at least a minimum level of privacy." At dinner, I gathered my courage and started the conversation. "I'm sorry, but there's something I need to ask. You might think I'm being overly sensitive. But could you please not enter my room, whether I'm there or not? I really dislike it when that happens. When I said this, not just Tom's parents, but even Tom looked surprised. Oh? Does that bother you? Looking at Tom and her husband. What? We thought it was something serious. Is that all? Tom's father looked at me with an exasperated expression. Well, I just thought that's how families were. Okay. Nancy cares about that kind of thing, huh? Since we're living together, Mom, Dad. Please respect Nancy's wishes for the sake of keeping peace. Tom told his parents. Something about the way he said it irked me, but good job, Tom. I appreciated that. Sigh. All right. I won't go into Nancy's room anymore. She reluctantly agreed, though clearly displeased. Later, Tom warned me, saying, "That wasn't something to say during dinner. Couldn't you have been a bit softer?" But I stood my ground. Your mother has a habit of looking around my room when I'm not there. Even when she comes to borrow something while I'm there. She acts like she knows exactly where everything is. Isn't that annoying? Having someone other than yourself know where all your things are? Tom was unconvinced and retorted, "Don't complain about such things," before storming off to his room. From then on, Sophia stopped entering my room without permission. But the atmosphere in the house became tense. Though we lived with Tom's parents, we never really bonded, and Tom seemed to avoid me. Is this my fault? Eventually, we started sleeping in separate rooms. Effectively living separately within the same house. For me, it was a relief not to worry about my room being invaded. However, continuing to live like this as a family seemed pointless. I began to question the meaning of it all. As I pondered what to do, a year passed since our marriage. When I received word that Tom's sister, Megan, would be returning home. It wasn't long before she arrived with her children in tow. Upon seeing me at the entrance, she immediately remarked, "So you're the fussy wife Mom has been talking about? Normally, it's the wife who should be accommodating, right? You just look like someone who doesn't consider anyone else's feelings. And insists on having her way. It seems a new monster has emerged. Apparently, Sophia likes to summon allies. Do I really deserve to be spoken to like this by a sister-in-law I barely know or have spoken to?" I stared back at this new breed of monster with an almost expressionless face. What? Can't I come back to my own house? Are you bothered by that too? To us, you're just a nuisance, so just keep quiet and do as you're told. Oh, is that so? I replied nonchalantly, to which she clicked her tongue audibly. She then entered the house with her 5 children. Tom's parents were overjoyed, especially Sophia, who got hyped. It's been a while, hasn't it? What brings you here? Sophia gleefully asked. I was thinking, maybe it's better to raise the kids here rather than with my husband. A shocking statement indeed. Her mention of raising the kids here implied she intended to stay in this house indefinitely. Does that mean you plan to live here? Huh. Of course. Can't you even understand that? You're so slow. Inwardly, I thought to myself, better slow than like you. She derided me while laughing. Anyway, we need to secure sleeping arrangements right away. We need to decide on a room for us to live in, considering the layout of this house. Oh right, Nancy. I heard you're using a room all by yourself. Could you give that room to us? Actually, we'll be taking it. Excuse me? You're not doing anything for this house, are you? Then, you can just sleep in the garden or something. The room is not spacious, but me and the kids can manage to sleep somehow. Yes, I'm furious. From her words, it's clear that Tom and his parents have been bad-mouthing me to Megan. This family could totally pull something like this. Understood. Then I'll go back to my parents' house. Do as you please. As I said this, Megan looked triumphant, but the faces of Tom and his parents dropped. It seems Megan, not living in this house, might not understand the real power dynamics here. I went to my room, started packing my things, and called a moving company to handle everything today. Tom then pleaded. Wait. 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 Nancy, please rethink this. Even Sophia said. What will we do without Nancy in this house? Don't abandon us. Their nearly crying faces seemed so fake, like something out of a reenactment drama. What are you saying? She's just a dumb wife, right? My opinion as the real daughter should take priority. It doesn't matter if one less person earning money is gone, right? Besides, she's just a part-timer or something. With this, Tom and his father turned pale. I could see them mouthing stop. Stop. It was clear what kind of attitude they usually had from this scene. Both seemed to have been boasting and lying out of pretense. I kind of knew it all along. Now that I'm here, you can relax. I'll get rid of that wife from this house for you. Tom and his parents had gone beyond pale to a shade of purple. Megan, stop it. Don't say any more. We never said anything like that about Nancy. Tom's father was also making a fuss. Everyone was desperately trying to silence Megan. I was finding the situation too hilarious for words. Turns out, Megan was lied to by her own family. And she had just accepted those words. In a way, she was a victim too. But today, she had insulted me enough. There's no reason for me to stay here. I packed what I could and went to the entrance, saying, "The movers will be here soon, take care." Tom frantically apologized. I'm really sorry. I couldn't tell you the truth. I was embarrassed about losing my job and becoming a stay-at-home husband. Embarrassed? Apologize to all the stay-at-home wives in the world. Since you decided to become a stay-at-home husband, what have you done? Almost all the household chores are left to your mother. You're not a stay-at-home husband. You're what's called a burden, Mr. Unemployed. Tom started to cry. Indeed, after quitting his job, Tom had hardly managed to do any household work properly. He'd mess up whenever he tried to cook, and he was even bad at cleaning. In the end, everything was left to his mother. According to Tom, my mom's cooking tastes better, and she's better at household chores. To be blunt, he's worthless. But perhaps he was slightly better for at least having the intent to do some household work, compared to his father. As for the father, he continued his blatant behavior at home as well. Even though he barely earned pocket money, he insisted that household chores were a woman's job, showing me this attitude. But after we started living together and he found out I earned more than him, he quickly changed the house's title to my name and transferred the mortgage to me. Under the pretext, the banks won't hassle us if Nancy, who has a longer life ahead, takes care of the loan repayments. The household was in such a financial crunch that it couldn't afford the mortgage. Whenever Tom's father tried to boss me around, I'd threaten to stop the mortgage payments. Silencing him, well, not garbage, but father-in-law. And made him do simple chores like taking out the trash. He probably just wanted to appear as a strong father to his son's wife. But there's no reason for me to continue living with such a family. Right. I'm leaving this house and putting it up for sale. Please find somewhere else to live as soon as possible. After giving instructions to the movers, I left with my luggage. Tom and his parents turned their anger towards Megan, who had led to this outcome. What have you done? If only you hadn't come back. As the family united in their discontent towards Megan, her children began to cry. Fed up, I called Megan's husband to pick them up. Hello, is this Megan's husband? She and the kids are here, telling me to sleep in the yard because I'm such a burden. So, I'm selling the house. Please come to pick up your wife and kids soon. After conveying the message, Megan's husband thanked me. Apparently, Megan had been caught cheating, was facing divorce, and had run away home with the kids for child support. Regardless of her circumstances, her words to me were unacceptable. I decided to wait for my parents to pick me up, while also waiting for Megan's husband to arrive. During this time, that family of 4 was busy blaming each other. Soon after, Megan's husband arrived, and Megan and her children were taken back without mercy. After witnessing this, I got into the car with my parents who had come to pick me up. During this time, Tom and Tom's parents were desperately apologizing. After being taken care of by me, to think you could behave like that. I can no longer live with you all. Tom's parents started to cry. I'll send the divorce papers later, so hurry up and sign them. Tom was writhing as if he had been tripped by a soccer player. Also, I'll be asking for a full repayment of the money I lent each of you. So please take care of that. In the rearview mirror, I saw their faces turn completely white. Tom tried to contact me several times after that, but I told him, please speak through a lawyer from now on. If you cannot accept all our demands, we'll go to court. And if you continue to contact me directly, I'll report it to the police. Because of this, Tom agreed to the divorce, and we were able to become strangers successfully. Megan ended up losing custody due to her affair and was sued for child support. Later, Megan and her family moved back into a rundown apartment, desperately trying to make ends meet for the 4 of them. Since they don't have any privacy, they must be living happily together in their cramped room every day. As for me, after the divorce, I no longer had to unnecessarily accommodate anyone or pay for a loan that wasn't mine. Now, back at my parents', I've been able to continue my job successfully and have even achieved a higher position. Belittling others for the sake of one's own pride eventually bounces back. It was a valuable lesson learned.